Okay. So thank you again, and I trust that we are becoming better versions of ourselves. Let me put it that way. So I trust that we are becoming better versions of ourselves. And today we would also, how will I put it now in Colin Wilson's language? On the ladder of selves, we'll climb to a higher rung. So it's one self or one integrated self, but there are so many selves in it. So I am hoping that at the end of today, we'll be able to access a higher rung on the ladder. So while we were rounding up last week, a few persons, let me just see. So a few persons were of the idea that one or two things needed to be discussed further. I think the two things, I'm trying to remember them. Okay, active intuition and environment. So active intuition and environment. So I don't know who wants to throw a little bit of light on what they are looking at getting from those two things. So who wants to throw a little light? What are we looking at? What are we looking at hearing more? What is not clear? Remember that together we all create every session every Saturday. So it's not a speaker created class. Okay, people don't want us to talk about it again. Some of us have even forgotten. So what do we want to hear? I know there were two conversations around the influence environment makes to our being. And I don't want to put anybody on the spot, so I don't want to call any name. But somebody said, please, in the next class, let's make sure that we complete this. Everybody's still quiet. Okay.
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning, Amajori.
I'm traveling. I'm on transit, public transport.
Okay.
We talked about. I was the one that suggested environment, so I know that very well. Thank you, sir.
All right.
The
Thank
different
you.
types of psychological, physical environment. When was it Queen that spoke? And I said we should look at environments.
Okay. All right. So is it that are we all satisfied now with how environment influences who we are, or does it contribute? Is it neutral? Is there a difference being raised in a ghetto and being raised in New York?
Good morning, sir.
Good
I
morning.
actually listened to the recording. I was not around.
Yes.
I listened to both what Omojere said and what Queen said, because Omojere tried to create, made people to know that our environment actually shouldn't be the factor that should tie anybody down. He talked about where he was living, somewhere, I don't know, I think after Okoko area he called, and he later moved to somewhere in Lekki. He changed it. He did not allow his environment to tie him down. Immediately, the wife's sister sent them a message or something like that, they could move. But again, Queen also said environment is not just the physical. Environment can be in your mind, your mindset, what you are thinking of, So both of them, in a way, they were correct. But what I also want to say is that really our environment should not tie us down, whether it's in our mind or is in our environment, people we relate with, people we see, what we hear. You understand? That's why we must make deliberate moves to area or aspects that will change us for better people, to better people. You understand? So that's just my own in it. Whatever the environment is, it should not tie us down. Somebody that they born overseas, somebody that they born in the smallest village in Nigeria, there's no difference. The smallest village in Nigeria, that person can grow up and become, a very big person that can be influencing the whole world. Whereas the person they born overseas can just be like a mediocre. So I just don't believe that environment should tie us down. We should be in control of that environment. Fine, at the initial stage, it might not be easy, like this ladder we are talking about, so at the bottom. But the moment you begin to expose yourself to listen to people like what we are gaining from here now, you begin to expand your mind and your thinking, and then you can now, recreate a better being for yourself to achieve great things. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Harris. Thank you so much. Okay, so I will let me just see if there's any message there. Good morning. Okay. Thank you, Omajere. So I will just say a few words on it so that now I like something that Harriet closed with. Now, sometimes at the lower rung of the ladder, so what we call sometimes at the lower rung of the ladder, we may struggle a bit. Sometimes when everything around you, the image is what this thing we call personality, who you are. Sometimes the images around you begin to shape you early in life. But one thing you will notice is that 10 persons in the same environment don't grow up with the same image or personality. So that we all grew up in a ghetto doesn't mean that the ghetto entered all of us. So you can be in a ghetto, but you are seeing something else. Now, at childhood, which many times likely we don't have much control. That is why psychologists will say when we were sleeping then. When we were in the mood of the waking sleep, we were waking up, but we were sleeping. Look like the environment was helping us condition our being. So how many of us know the story of an elephant when it went born, a young elephant? It is a very a rope that his leg, if he moves his leg at the force of, let me use a bit of physics, if he moves his leg at the force of 10 Newton per meter, the rope will cut. But as a baby, all he can move his leg with is about 5 Newton per meter. So when he tried to move his leg as a baby, the rope restrained it. Now, every time he tried to move his leg past past the radius of the rope, just tied to a very small stick. Every time he tried to move his leg, the rope restrained it. Now, what did the elephant start doing? Now, this is basic psychology. Psychology said the elephant started teaching its brain that I am meant to walk in this circumference. It says so it holds it goes to sit down, they bring its food. It holds it goes to sit down, it brings its food. He says now the elephant is grown. You will see a lot of articles on it. Let me just see if I can make just a visual projection that would help. Okay. So I pray, I know some of us are watching using our phones. I don't know if we are seeing it. So every time it tries to move, you will see the small peg there. So when it grows up, now with just a little movement, it will exceed 10 Newton per meter because the weight is a lot now. But the brain has been conditioned that this is my circumference. Now, so in a way, it looks like the environment shaped him, but now we need to wake up. We can't live in that life forever. We can't live in that circle of existence. If it just makes an effort, so sometimes we live in a circle. I remember a very prominent company in Victoria Island, Nigeria. They asked me to come to a particular job. The job, there is no competition. Any amount I quoted was the job. Any amount. If I said it was 1 million, come and do it. If I said it was 100 million, come and do it. Just come and do it. When I sat down to write them a letter, I was struggling with how much I needed to make. There's a classmate of mine. He said, how can you make 5 million from something that just 1 week? I now wrote it and wrote it until what I will make was like 1 million naira. Guess what? When the execution was turbulent, I almost ran at a loss. But this friend of mine had said, you agreed if you said you will make 50 million because they say whatever you bring, you will do it. Now, I noticed later on when I got into the subject of being, I was in trying to decide how much I will make, I was trying to replicate who I was. There are people who did later on, who did that same work for the organization when they were called. They made 50 times what, and the organization paid them. Now, what was happening to me at my neurological level? That this is not a competitive bid. It is me. Decide who you are. That's basically what I was quoting. Now, but the environment, I grew just like these elephants. I have not freed myself from it. To think in another psychological term, to think outside the box. Now, this elephant has grown to get out of it, but it has refused to get out of it. Now, I think I've sent this eagle fly, the PDF to us once about the eagle that was domesticated with some chicken. Now, after being domesticated, it didn't move, it couldn't behave as an eagle until it was taken to go and see the sun and pushed. Sometimes something pushes us, and forever we are no longer the same. Now, but to take that step to realize, now that's why they say risk. Risk is to get out. Anything you call risk is to get out of your brain. Nothing else. The risk is not in the external. The risk is how do I get out of my thinking? That is what the risk is. How do I get out of my thinking? The risk is never, sorry, let me try and stop this screen sharing. The risk is never about, okay, so the risk is never about the environment. There is no risk that you are taking that is about the external. The risk is in your brain. I remember the first time I went abroad, the brain has a tendency to want to replicate familiar environment. So I'm not in London, but my brain is trying to replicate what I know in Nigeria. So some of us are imprisoned. We go to a new place, and we are fighting with bringing that old place into a new place. So I've just left Adeje, where I come from in Delta State, from Adeje to Lagos. And I'm trying to fit in Victoria Island into Adeje. It's not fitting. Trying to fit it in, it's not fitting. Now, so sometimes that environment, it was not the environment that conditioned us. It is we that wrote this thing, but it looks like it's the environment. It looks like it. What's the name of this author who wrote the book, David and Goliath? You know what he said in the book? He said, if you have first class in a local university in Nigeria, and you have a pass in Harvard University, he tried to create a scenario of how identity works. In his own observation as a psychologist, he said the first class in the village university in Adeje University will do better than the third class in Harvard University. Is it not magical? I'm sure you are hearing it for the first time. Now, these are two different environments. Now, he said in the book David and Goliath, he said the Adeje first class made you begin to think like a champion. The Harvard pass or third class made you begin to think like a failure. So the brain is always comparing. So when you got pass in Harvard, you just saw, man, you were in a better environment, everything better. But you coded yourself as a failure. Now, it's not that everybody does that too, but he's just giving a general sample, population sample. Now he's saying that, so in that one now, is it the environment? It's not the environment. The environment, Harvard is better than you got your first line at DJ, no light, nothing, sitting on the floor to get your first degree. Here, everything is surrounded. But you built a personality because your name was always called in front of the class. First in mathematics, first in this, first in that. Even though the syllabus you were even doing was 1/10 of the syllabus of what they were doing in this thing. But a personality in you came up that made you see yourself. Now, at the end of the day, so when they took you to New York, it didn't matter to you that the environment was strange. How did you begin to behave? No, I always come out first. I always come. They say come and do interview. I always come out first. So it began to influence you. Now, it could influence different people. We're talking of general samples now. But either whether the ones who did not and the ones who are. So if it is not, if it is independent of the environment, it is not 100% the responsibility of the environment. Now, are all elephants that were tied to the stick, are all of it behave that way? Now, one other thing that psychology has also discovered, so one of the ways by which the elephant will discover that the small stick is not holding it, it is trouble. So sometimes when trouble comes into your life, welcome it. If a force is coming, we say head of lion is coming after that elephant, what do you think the elephant will do? I want somebody to talk back. If a head of lion is coming after that elephant that is sitting, this is the circumference I will walk. What do you think the elephant will do?
Elephant
will
will
move.
run.
It will move. Once the elephant moves, the neurological condition says, eh? As it's running, where is the stick that held me since waiting for food? Where is it? Sometimes it's a mystery in spirituality. So sometimes God unleashes something on you in your place of work or in something you do. So you can't give it any interpretation. If you have read my book, Realizing Mental Resilience. So there are all possible interpretations. So you interpret it and say, the devil is after me. But sometimes you just take a step, forever you are changed. That's why you will see people that say, the best thing that ever happened to me, the best was this thing happened, was being laid off. How can being laid off be the best thing that happened to you? When they took a step, they found out that nothing was holding them. There is a Nigerian here, what's her name? Fumi, was it Fumi Olatokun? In one of the chapters of her book, said the best thing that happened to her is her mother dying when she was 11. Can that be the best thing that happened? How many children today are complaining that if they had fathers, if they had one thing, if their mother was there? He said, I was compelled to think outside the box. See, all my brain knew at 11 was nothing other than my mother. Now, look, so something that we would think was a bad thing is now the reason is the best thing that ever happened to her. Now, so sometimes the safety that we held to, it's we that came up with the safety. It's we that held on to it. And this thing, look, that's why sometimes you have read plenty books. And the books are still saying, so you have to imagine a new future. Your brain will say how, depending on your age. As you grow older, you are asking more how than as a child. The child will just say, yes, I'm thinking now, I own a pilot, I own a plane, I'm a pilot. It's so easy for children to just say they are this. As you are growing old, you have formed the look. the rope that is holding your leg at the neurological level has like prison. There's a book, The Mind Made Prison. Like a mind made prison, you have locked yourself. But when you get out of the waking sleep mood, I am going to determine. You see, I'll tell you something. Sometimes what we are learning now, you see, somebody asked Zig Ziglar once, I don't know how many of us know Zig Ziglar. He said, why do we have to hear this every week? Zig Ziglar said, why do you eat food every day? Look, sometimes to erase this thing, you need to eat. Every time I was listening to the last Saturday's class this morning, and I listened to a question asked by Mr. Atunayo, and the response Jane gave, I saw something that I didn't see during the class. That's what you need to go over them again. You don't eat your favorite food once and you say it will carry you for the rest of your life. But sometimes the image will just come and you will just snap and you will see something you've never seen before. And you will just enter forever that old circle. In Jeremiah 1, God told Jeremiah and said, Jeremiah, what do you see? He said, I see so like an almond tree. He says, you have well seen. Then he came again, what did you see? Then he told Jeremiah replied him again. He said, I will bring it to pass. Our own is to see how it will come to pass. It's not our responsibility. Sometimes we are mentally, many times you are obstructing your life when it's unfolding. Yeah, but I prayed like this. It's just like the example I gave. So trouble pushes you out. A lion comes, and you just find out that there was nothing holding you where you have been. Now, in one of this thing, in that same chapter, at one stage, Jeremiah now told God, he said, I am too young, for I am a young man. God now said, do not say. So last week's subject was conditions do not exist. So what is he saying? I can't do this now until 5 years. God said, do not say that I'm a young man. You can do this thing now. All right, I'll stop here. Omanigo, the floor is yours. Omanigo. Okay, I see your hand up. I'm sure you are muted. Okay. All right. I don't know if he mistakenly raised it. Okay, I've dropped his hand. So that is my take on environment. Let me just see if there is anything on my notes here I can additionally read. Maybe. Okay, so we see the elephant, and I pray we are able to replay this thing. I'll tell you, as I'm speaking, that's not all the learning I get. If I listen to myself again, I get it better. The square box that has been created by you, okay, this is from the article, conditions do not exist. Our outer environment and conditions of a person are always related to the person's inner states and thoughts. It is through the environment and conditions that a person experiences and discovers their thoughts and states. Now, your thoughts create the environment. And when you look at the environment your thoughts have created, you should know the kind of thoughts you have. This is made possible by the fact that the universe, without error, fashions the environment and conditions a person has from their thoughts and states of being. A person is always in the perfect setting, and experience themselves to change and grow. The square is the box that has been created by you, by your past conditioning, experiences, teachers, news, environment, and so on. It is not a real box. So sometimes what is one of the greatest limitations of a lot of people at the bottom of the rung of the ladder, either financially, emotionally, or anything. The box looks so real. It looks like my country, where I was born is tying me down. The color of my skin is tying me down. So many things that we try to, my age is tying me down. The Colin Wilson we are reading today, by 24, he did not attend university. He stopped school at 15 and he just started reading. By 24, he was one of the best authors in the United Kingdom. Now, I'm waiting to grow old. I'm waiting for this. I'm that. It only exists in the mind. It only exists in the mind you want, in the minds of those around you. This is all that keeps the square there. It is not real on its own. It needs you and everyone else to survive. It is you that is keeping the square, the limitation alive. You can break outside of it by thinking outside the square. I don't know whether we've done the 9th dot experiment in this class. You can break outside of it by thinking outside of the square. You have heard this many times, but now you can finally do it all the time. You do it by dropping all instructions you have in your mind as to how to do things. For example, some people who have never had a university education believe that to be wealthy, one has to have a university degree. Now, I read again from Howard Venner. Question: will you please comment on what is commonly called destiny or fate? Can we change our fate or is it fixed? Certainly, it can change. So this is Howard Vernon responding. Do you really want it changed? That is the only question. Please do not hastily assure me of your eagerness to be different. There are great resistances which you do not see. Do you want a new destiny more than you want your old ways? You can have whichever you choose. Choose in favor of yourself. We get exactly what we settle for, nothing more and nothing less. This is from the book, The Supermind by Vernon Howard. You attract people and events on your own psychological level. This one I have come to really experience. You cannot attract anything higher than your own level, at your own level, because you cannot recognize value above your own level. A woman constantly finds herself mixed up with the wrong men. As long as she remains a psychologically wrong woman, she has no choice but to end up with the wrong man. A businessman finds himself in one financial blunder or another after another. He must continue in these blunders until he sees their cause in himself, in his being. And then I will be waiting for the environment to change. I'll tell you, the environment is not what is keeping us. Until this one I have really seen in my own business. You will go round and round in circle, blame all the people, blame the procurement manager of XYZ company, blame the cancelled contract, until you see the cost within yourself. If we want more quality, we must first give up inferior quality without demanding to know what the superior is like. This is the familiar supermind principle of the vacuum. You cannot load your cupboard with real fruit until it is first cleared of wax fruit. How to get abundant reaching from cosmic change of self. The trouble is, a man demands security. He insists upon a way to so clearly marked that he cannot make mistakes. But the fact is that no one has ever found the way back home without suffering the humiliation of mistakes. So I think what Venom Howard is trying to say here, you have to take a step. My pastor would say something. God only corrects people who are on the move. So if you are sitting down to make sure that the entire circumstance is right in your brain, then you will never get up. Say nobody parks a car that is already parked. Traffic warden don't park a car. He said you are moving, they now say park, which means you are on the wrong direction. Now, when you take a step, when that lion comes after you, you won't know when you will get up. But the fact is that no one has ever found the way back home without suffering humiliation or mistake. Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung, a student of esoteric principle, remarked that the desire for security is the great enemy of self-discovery. The desire for security is the great enemy of self-discovery. Security exists, but it is not at all what the unchained mind think it is. True security is a state of no security whatsoever, where a man's ego self has been so demolished. What is the ego? All the things you think how life should work, all the conditions you have put, that is what your ego is. True security is a state of no security whatsoever, where a man's ego self has been so demolished that the craving for safety is non-existent. The title is Teacher Shuang. As Teacher Sang explained, such example, if a man can empty himself of himself, who can harm him? Who can harm him the daily value of cosmic ideas. I don't know what that sentence is, but I'm sure we get the general, what I read from Howard Vernon there. Jane, the floor is yours. Go ahead.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Uh, I just want to contribute to the environment thing, and you once said something in one of our sessions that we live on the inside, and sometimes we can all be in the same environment, but it is depends on what we are all seeing. I want to give an example. We when I was doing my masters, and the first thing I was told, I came late for the masters because of visa. By the time I came, school had started. And as soon as I entered with a student visa. Then there was no post studies. When you finish your school, if you don't get a sponsorship, you go back to Nigeria or wherever you came from. So as soon as I came in my class, it was only few of us that needed visa to stay. Some have come because they were married, so people just had reason to stay. Then they kept on telling me, you even came with your 3 kids. Ah, Hmm, they've already taken all the big names have already employed. For you to get sponsorship, you need to take a lower salary. Then they will tell you you have to be paying the balance of the sponsorship to the employer from the money the employer is paying you, all sort of theories. And I just sat down and I told myself, I said, initially I was buying into it and I was going into, I couldn't live beyond that. But something struck me. And I said, I said, no, I know all the big companies have closed, but I'm going to write to them. And I wrote a personal message to one of them that finally sponsored me and helped me when I stay in the UK. I said, I am a student, but I've been a pharmacist for a long time. I am going to be of help to your business. I know I'm going to be entering as a pre-reg pharmacist, trying to register here in the UK. I said, but the wealth of knowledge I've had in Nigeria, if I bring it, I have business IQ. I never knew they would pick it up. The HRO picked it up and they sent for me to come to the head office to have an interview. I went to go and look for the best dress I had. I did not have the right shoe. I went to borrow a shoe. And when I got to that head office, as I was walking in, the HRO came to meet me. And I went with my friend. He said, you were walking as if you owned the place. As if, he said, you've never walked in. He said, when I saw you, he said, I was intimidated by the way you were walking. I started talking about how I set up a business, talking about my business IQ. I said, I might not even know how pharmacy work here. I said, but I'm bringing something from a different perspective. The going salary was not enough to sponsor me. Another person came for that same interview, was a British citizen that they don't need to add money to. Just to be able to sponsor me, they added £3,000 to my salary, gave me sponsorship, and denied the British citizen that does not need 3,000 adding to and does not need sponsorship. And don't forget, for them to sponsor me, they need to pay HMRC. When I came back, it's still a testimony that a lot of people share in my class today. Say Janice did the unthinkable. But before I had to do this, I was just there thinking, okay, I was always telling my husband, they said we need to pay people. But sometimes you stay in an environment and the news, do you want to believe what people are saying? There are a lot of people that have come here that they've told that they don't recognize what you have done in Nigeria. And there are a lot of people that have come to the UK that have PhD, but they are still doing jobs that you don't need an education to do because their minds cannot see, they can't just see beyond it. So sometimes we are living on the inside. It's not in the reality. And I finished from that company. The day I got my indefinite leave, they said, oh, because they sponsor you, it will not be nice to leave. I got my indefinite 4 days later, I resigned. They said, why did you do that? I said, I don't owe them anything. Yes, they sponsored me, but I don't owe them anything. And I went ahead and did what I need to do. They said, oh, this. So sometimes we are living inside of us. The environment we need to change. It might not be the physical environment. You need to change the people around you, because you can still be staying in Lekki and people will be telling you that in this Lekki, hey, if you don't do so and so this, you cannot make it. Lekki, where you see wealth all around you. Sometimes the environment that we need to change is within us. And to change that within us, it might mean breaking the circle of people, what the people around us are telling us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So I'm really enjoying this class, and I really pray we form the habit of listening to some of these recordings again and again. Like I said in one of the previous classes, sometimes you are listening to somebody, something comes into your head, within or without, you miss 20 seconds, or you miss 1 minute, or you miss 3 minutes. When you replay, you are likely to hear that thing. And I will tell you, if you know the way change comes, you need to hear it again and again. The program running in you, you didn't write it in one day. So you need to do this one again and again. And sometimes you will just see yourself wake up. You are one morning, even sometimes not a lion didn't chase you. Just listening to these recorded sessions alone, you are able to work with the old program. My cousin who lives in Detroit, I went to stay with him, and he's now doing some kind of real estate. We went to look at some of the houses he was developing. Then he was telling me the story of how he came to well, after he left Nigeria for the US. He said sometimes you just stay with some Nigerians, he says they can really bring you down. I say, yeah, look, the vision I had coming here. Okay, I got here. They helped me. I was desperate. I got a security job. After that, they gave me one other one. See, 6 months, all of us were rejoicing, staying in one room. See, but I had a different idea. When I would tell them I want to resign, they would threaten me. If you know, if you pay your rent, we pack out of this place. So, you see, all of them was to make sure that I didn't go for a different kind of this thing. Now, sometimes people will want to constantly hear. Look, Les Brown says, if you work with 3 people and 3 of you are taking a walk, he says, what do you think will be the speed at which you walk? He said the speed is the speed of the... Because for you people to be walking together, taking a stroll, which means you have synchronized unconsciously, you have synchronized your steps. He said you will synchronize your step with them. He said, so if the people you are working with, their thinking pulls you, they make you walk faster, you will adjust to increase it. If it's the way you traditionally walk is higher, run faster than your, he said you would take it back. He said that's the way your brain works. So it synchronizes. So when my cousin said when he found out that his brain was synchronizing 1 year now after getting to the US, say one day he just resigned from the security job and moved out of the place. He said it looked like, and he survived. He went to a new place and started looking for work. It's a different kind of work. Look, and within 2 months, he has gotten that work, paying him 5 times that distance. It will take a level of, it comes internal. Something Johnny said, it is all internal. Now, you will see 10 children are raised from the same parents. All of them have different description of their upbringing. All of them have different description of what they want to do in life. Now, as they are seeing the environment, they are interpreting it. They are seeing it. I don't know whether I've done it in this class. I had 2 sisters who were twins in University of Benin. And one of the ladies said, it's in my book, however you tell it's a story you made up. One of them said that her parents are the worst parents in the world. I asked her why. Said, this is her 4th year in University of Benin. She has never been able to eat a decent meal. One day when I met her other twin sister, we were just talking, and without asking her, she said, if you know the kind of parents I have, sweet. I said, tell me about them. He said, look, the kind of parents, he says, for their sacrifice, I should not even see University of Benin. She said, look, if going by what they have, I should not even go to secondary school. He said they were so sacrificial that she had the best parents in the world. The same father, they are twins, they are seeing the same environment, they are coding it different, they are coding themselves differently. These parents, they are the worst. What is the other one doing? Comparing, she's eating eba and okra in Buka Hut in Unibe, and there is no meat. Another girl is eating with 10 meats. The other one is saying, even with no meat, people know where I came from. If not for the sacrifice of my parents, I should not even see University of Benin. But they are coding themselves. So when I work with teenagers, so I always tell them, your code, the code which you wrote, for which you are blaming your parents, you wrote it. You are the one who wrote it. So it is you that will need to change it, not your parents. It is you that made up those meanings. It is you reaching those conclusions. Now, so we are, every one of us here today. Any code, anything we have written in our neural system that has put us in the state of being that we are, we wrote it. And if we don't like it, I think in one of the articles, I know the time is really going fast, 7:51, and we've not taught Colin Wissy's ladder of being. In one of the articles in Colin Wissy's ladder of being, he said you can decide to tell any story so real about anything. You can decide, not wait for anything. You can choose your being without anything. The one you are telling that looks so real, you made it up. You made it up. That is the summary of my book. However you tell it, it is a story that you made up. It looks like the environment wrote the story. It's not the environment that wrote the story. One wrote a story, my parents are the worst. One wrote a story, my parents are the best, from the same environment. Like the writer of David and Goliath. Just growing up in the DC and being said you are first every day in that school with no light. You can be writing in a program or more. They carry me go Harvard and see first I go be. The one who is failing in a different environment is saying that I am a dullard. You can always choose. Now, when we were sleeping, to use psychological word, we were not conscious that we were the one writing it. We need to write a new one. Now, the process of writing this new one, something Mr. Adunoyo asked in the last class, putting a vision before yourself and living from the vision. Now, it takes process. There's something I put on the group once. This is the end of all transformation. Deciding who you are going to be or creating your being and beginning to practice. Now, you couldn't see it. You couldn't see it. You wake up in the morning, I need to see a new reality. Now, this is not dependent on pockets. Sheyi Tinubu's son. If he's not holding any money, he just knows that he's Tinubu's son. Now, but you are able to bring yourself, you are looking at your pocket, you are looking at the environment. So how do I think like Dangote's son, whether I have money or I don't have? Whether there's something with me, and I just know. Look, if I really need to do this, I don't think Jesus was carrying money up and down. But if he really needed to do anything, he would do it instantly. How do I become that kind? You try your neurological system. Continual practice. One day you will just see. It, like one of the articles in Colin Wissy's Ladder of Being. Say, what is education? Education is to draw out. To educate in Greek. We want to, if you are an engineer now, education drew an engineer out of you. If you're a medical doctor here now, education drew a medical doctor out of you. All of the states of being infinite are inside you before education drew out that. All of them. All professions in the world are inside each and every one of us. Educate is to draw one out. You chose the one that when you chose pharmacy, you said, draw this one out of me. It was drawn out. That's what education means. Now, you can choose, as you begin to practice, you can decide what you want to draw out of you. No, the programming you don't like. Now, there's one of the articles in Colin Winsel's this thing. He said the way a mountain climber is intentional in holding rocks. He says sometimes you have to get to that intentionality. There are some topics we will enter from next week where you are really going deep into intentionality. You are not climbing rock and you are looking at something. He said when you want to change the ring you are in, you want to change the plates or the beliefs that run your life. No. So the CGL say, poor. No. Remember when we were doing, I think, listening to our inner conversations, the speed at which the unconscious makes decision, I've forgotten, 41 kilobytes per minute or whatever per second. And when you become conscious, when you are intentional, you slow down. You know any mistake, you are going to fall from the rock. So you want to leave this current rung of ladder. So you are, no, no, it takes practice. You look like you have slowed down, but the slowness is to enable you grab the next one. And before you know, you have removed your leg from the previous one and you are a new circumference. In Colin Wilson's ladder of being, he said, your awareness at the moment, I don't know how many of us know what a cross section is in engineering, is just a cross section of who you are. Who you are is the full ladder. Any awareness you are now is a cross section at different rung of the ladder. If you take a cross section, you will see something different. So I'm a civil engineer. You take a cross section of a building, you see something different. But the whole building is one. You take another cross section, you will see something else. You see, any level of consciousness you are now is a cross section. What is possible for you in the full rung of the ladder? Let me stop here. So I want to get more involvement. So we finished I think I saw Queen post something. Active intuition describes a state of practice or consciously and active engaging with one's intuitive abilities rather than passively relying on them. This can involve being mindful of one's gut feelings, paying attention to inner signals, and intentionally using intuition in decision making or problem solving. Thank you very much. I think the two things that we did not cover last week, active intuition and environment. So if there are no comments or questions, contributions on those two, 757, maybe we might want to look at Colin Winson's ladder of selves for today. Who has something to say? The floor is open. Oh, we should have something to say. No, challenge your brain. Challenge your brain. Saying, I learned this when I was doing MBA in Dublin. The cases for which I come out to present, almost till today, 20 years after I finished MBA University College Dublin, I almost still remember the cases because I came out of class and I knew what I had to go through to stand in front of the class. The one where I was quiet, I don't remember them anymore. Harold, the floor is yours. You are muted, Harold.
Yeah, okay. Good morning, everybody.
Good
Yeah.
morning.
Sorry about work, so I may not be able to participate much. Yeah, well,
No problem.
I'm following what is going on, and I'm very excited and interested in it. I want to say that as I was looking at reading this article now, the Bob Marley song just came to my mind. Say there's a natural mystic blowing through the air, that you are turning us into mystics. Because we I Maslow's hierarchy of needs, we talked about moving from your basic human needs to that of self-actualization, and then the Collins ladder talk about moving from base self to the last one, which is peak experience. While one of them, both of them, like the base is still the same, when you talk of physiological needs, and then we are moving to self-actualization. It's a transformation, it's a movement, and he looked at motivation. But in this case, what I like about uh, Collins' own is the fact that you you your circumstance, you could be self-actualized and at the same time to you not feeling happy. You're not, and you feel something. You I don't did I say you're not actually giving people what they want. You're not adding value to society, to humanity. So in other words, where you are in terms of economic um, economics or your physical position in life in terms of income does not really affect your your experience, your creativity, how you can add value to society. You know, I was just looking at the case of two American presidents, say Trump and Abraham Lincoln. In terms of materiality, Trump has, I mean, the billionaire before becoming the president. Abraham Lincoln was a poor man, very poor man who struggled to study law, and even as a president, he was still very poor. But in terms of value added to society and humanity. I think Abraham Lincoln it was far. It was the one that actually fought for liberation of the slaves and all those slaves, the North and the South war, and all those things. I mean, still even to tomorrow, the man is more honored. And when you look at presidents that have affected society more, he was there. In other words, our wherever we are in life, the happiness is not how you put it. Happiness is not in the lottery. It's not in jackpot, winning the jackpot. It's your state of being. It's your state of mind. It is, and we should, for us to move from one level. I mean, for us to affect humanity, we've got to be creative. That's creative self. You've got to. Your creativity is something that comes intentionally. You must be intentional in being creative. You know, you got to move. If, for example, you're on the base level and you can move to creativity by, being intentional. You can move it, but you have to be conscious of where you are at the ladder, and then you try as much as possible to evolve to move to another level. And one of the things, as I was looking at it and reflecting on myself, and I think, faith is very important to in doing that one. I just like what Jane's testimony about how, she intentionally, didn't mind what people were saying, got what she wanted. So no matter what challenges we have in the society, we can actually move, you know, actualize where we want to be. And one of the things they talked about to do that one is the uneasy. I always guys they God for what they call it. They call it the holy firm. That the uneasy ground of questioning. When you question yourself, keep on questioning. I think in the Bible, I can look at it as restlessness when Isaac told Esau, okay, when he was asking for blessing and all those things, and he said you don't have anything. See, but when you become restless, you can. When you become restless, you will get the blessing. And actually he got the blessing later when Jacob and Esau met, and he said, I have enough. So that uneasy ground of questioning, the fact that the turbulent, you're not happy what you are, you ask questions, how can I do this? How can I move on? How can I do? So, and all those things, authenticity, discipline, and a resolve on your path to move can get you from one ladder to the other. No matter how it is, you really have, that undaunted faith, that you can do it no matter what is happening. So you keep on, going at it, going at it, going at it, and it doesn't work, you go at it again. Doesn't work, go at it, just like what Thomas Edison did. So if that's one thing we get from this thing, that it is possible to move from one ladder to the other, but you need to be intentional about it. It's not going to come to you. It's not going to be just praying alone. No, you got to have faith, but you have to do the work. You got to be disciplined. You got to be authentic about it, driven by a state of purpose. You know the purpose in your heart that you want to do it, and you can actually move that ladder. And that is where I think we as a society and as a people, we need to be intentional. Don't be blaming this government, do this, that. We've got to be intentional that, look, we can do it. You can do it no matter what the obstacle is. That is just my take about it. And I want to rest my case. I'll go back to my work.
All right. Thank you very much, Harold. Thank you so much. Okay, so I'm waiting for more contributors. I want all of us to speak this morning, or at least half of the class. So, all right, Toast, the floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Okay, from my own end, one of the things I saw he was talking about, like we have different selves. We have different selves in one body. So for me, it's looking like, if I bring it to the Christian perspective, we'll be talking about the spirit, soul, and body. And the easier we can bring the three to work in harmony, to bring the three together to align, it's easier for us to go up the rung of the ladder, because we're able to, one part of yourself is seeing something, and the other part is seeing something that is possible. Another part of yourself is seeing it as not being possible. So by the time we're able to align all the selves together to see from the same point of view, it becomes easier for us to move. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Who else? We are all together creating every class, not one person. Who else? Are you eager for early closure today? Let's say something. There's something you have to say. And it's when you say it that the neural network gets created faster. So teachers learn faster than students because the attempt to teach the students, give them an extra advantage. All right. So who else? Okay,
Okay,
Charles.
thank you. I wanted to just add on what we look at. That's when it has to do with our environment, is our state of mind. In the author, he tried to make us understand what where we go looking for like happiness, where we go looking for things while it's supposed to be inside, deep within us. And I see that looking on the place of self-improvement. If we want to go up the ladder in life, we should know that competing with anyone, we compete with ourselves. Our state of mind, the type of joy, the type of happiness, the goals, the things we want to achieve in life is self. If we go going for competition, we'll never be satisfied because you always feel there's someone that is better than you out there. But if we put it that I want to improve on myself, the competition is about me getting to the next ladder, not how many people are ahead of me in the ladder, but me trying to get to another level that is better than where I am, leaving the ground and going up. I think that is where we will find most of our fulfillment and achievement in life. That's the little I want to contribute on this.
Thank you so much, Charles. Thank you. Who? Let's create an experience that we all want to go back to. Okay, let me try and see my I'm trying to see, doesn't mean you should not raise your hand. So the floor is open to all of us, unless we are all eager to go for a party today. There is a lot to unpack in the ladder of selves, unless we didn't read it. And I say, we are all students. This is post-MBA. This class is higher than the PhD class. Transformation is more than intellectual knowledge. So it is good that we prepare ourselves. A classmate of mine was in my office 2, 3 days ago, and we're discussing transformation and being. And I said, no, PhD does not transform you in the context of what we are talking. He said that is why you see sometimes we complain about lecturers not living up to the professors, the profane or profess rather. Now, because you can be a professor and you are still the elephant within the ring. Sometimes a hurricane, if you remember the slides I dropped on the group, fly, eagle, fly. When the eagle was wondering whether to fly or not to fly, a strong wind came and hit the eagle, and the wind just opened up. All of that ability was in the eagle. Why he could not make a decision? Why he was standing looking at the sun, gazing, until a wind came
That's why I said, if a head of lion comes and the elephant sees other elephants running, what do you think it will do? It won't even know that there's something holding it. It won't remember that the foot is stuck to a small this thing. You can read, just Google elephant held by a whatever, a cord or a small thread. It's all over. It's the basics of psychology, how the mind ends up being in prison. Then, so the mind keep blaming, if not that I'm tired, I should have gone to eat that grass. If not, look at that fine this thing. Oh, look at that fine this thing. Look at that fine lady. I would have toasted her, if not that I'm not qualified. But the disqualification is you. For years, I couldn't even say good morning to a girl in Uniben. The disqualification was me. The disqualification was not the girl. I couldn't even say how you did. The disqualification. If say I just be like, I look at some people in my class in civil engineering. They walk and they swagger. Like no, there's nobody they cannot talk to. Me, I will see and I just wish it was, but the program was me. It had nothing to do with anything other than the program that was playing in me. The elephant is just wishing. It's wish and wish. So people live. I remember I had a couple of friends when I was in Dublin. They just came. They came from Nigeria. And all they just arrived with your degree, no matter abroad. He did not apply for any job. As soon as they landed, they got a job the next day as security guards. Their minds were prepared before they left Lagos that, look, they don't value Nigerian degrees. Now, so they got there and they started trying to live it out. Meanwhile, I was saying to my friend a few days ago, I said, you know, when I was earning 60-something thousand pounds sterling in 2007 in East Sussex, I went to see a Nigerian guy. And when I got to this guy's house, my whole salary was not up to his housing allowance. He was living in an area so exclusive in London. I've never been to that area in London. But you can hang out with another group of Nigerians. Oh, God. What they will tell you about living in the UK is a different story. Now, when you wake up from sleep, you now want to choose who you are. You now want to begin to choose. Now, this thing, like I said, the end of all transformation is practice. You are just taking your bath, put on this recorded talk. You see, I remember the gospel preacher, Kenneth Copeland. Oh, there was one of his tips. I will never forget that tip. 7 steps to excellence in ministry. I think it was part 4. Oh, he said, you want to change the inner image of your person as a Christian? He says you will hear it. He said you are in the bathroom shaving. You are playing the new story of who you want to be. You are eating, you are playing it. He says 24 hours. He walked, look, he came from a background that looked like it was everything. When he entered ministry, became a pastor, everything was suffering. You can Google him today. You will see him on YouTube. Where he stays in Texas, he has his own private airstrip with planes landing in Kenneth Copeland Airstrip, Kenneth Copeland Airport, by him, not the US government. He said he kept playing repeatedly. Step 4 of 7 steps to excellence in ministry. Day and night. He says, the old, continually I was washing away the old. Continually I was washing away the old. I remember when I was to go for NYC and I wanted only one wish from my senior brother. I've been listening to Kenneth Copeland. He said, what do I said, I want an auto-reverse cassette player. I just finished listening to 7 Steps in Excellence in Ministry. I will sleep with it. I will wake up with it. Now, I was in Kano. I didn't want, no. If I come out, other coppers, they didn't believe, like I didn't look like a copper. What they were hearing about Kano was not what I was hearing. It wasn't the same thing. Anytime I went for Coppers Fellowship, what they would be saying about this Kano at this thing, it's a different Kano. Because I was hearing something different from what they were hearing. Now, you need to create your own environment that continually, if you always go to a place where, they are talking about how family is restraining you, the rich no one make we rich, the this.
Nobody know what make you rich. Oh. Nobody put anybody there. Bishop T.D. Jakes said something once. Can you for once think that you are a local government chairman? I said, no. I'm not saying you are a local. Can you for once? Say many of us can't. So what do we end up with? Just critics, criticizing everything. I said what sometimes to somebody, no, I don't want to die a critic. I don't want to die a critic. I don't want to die. All I got is PhD criticizing billionaires. How did they get there? I don't want to waste my life. My degree is not BSc criticizing. How did they get there? This reality. So how do I enter a new reality? David wasn't. David just said to said David Daniel. So the king's the guy who was overseeing the servants says, no, I don't need the king's food. You will see in 3 weeks. Come and check the difference. I know who I am. The question is, who are you? It wasn't. He didn't say I have 1 billion in the bank account, like one of the comments Harold was making. No, sometimes we think that the personality will change if the external environment. No, go and read quantum physics. You are the one creating the environment. The environment is not creating you. Your personality is creating. What I read from Bernard Howard in Supermind. He says, as long as you remain in that place, what you will attract is what you are. So you won't attract people more than the ones you have created in you. You won't. So you just be seeing the same kind, but just try to begin to make a change. Now, this process of making a change means continually. Sometimes you will see some tablet that say you will take it for 30 days. You will take it once 3 days for 30 days. No, this one is not enough. This one class won't do the job. It gives you the information, but the information needs to go in again, go in again. The drug is pushing out that illness. It's pushing inside. It's removing what has brought this state of illness or dysfunction. And you need to do it for 30 days. Some say you need to do it for 90 days. Now, this is the same thing. You decide the state of being. We record these sessions and put them back in the group. You wake up, you are free, instead of just, you are just buried on the news 24/7. And what does the news specialize in? I'm not saying anything wrong in the news. It's all what is not working in the world. Then you are going. They said, the World Bank has just said that growth will fall by 0.75. They've revised their growth down. There is nothing the World Bank says that has any impact on a person's individual well-being. So the growth will go down by 100%. But as it is growing down, Jeff Bezos is growing up. And as he's going up, some people at the bottom of the ladder, Jeff Bezos didn't even hear that one. He didn't listen, according to Mary Kay Ash. The bumblebee aerodynamically cannot fly. But the bumblebee is flying, but every law of physics in the way the bumblebee is built, it should not fly. But the bumblebee flies. Mary Kay says why? The bumblebee is not aware of that argument of physics. It's not aware. So you can fill your mind with all of those awareness, then you stay stuck. But then that awareness you are listening to is 1/1 billion. The number of news stations in the world. You tuned to one. It's you you made a choice. So if you tuned to one that is bringing you tuned to a company of impossibilities. You tuned to a company of has been. People who are always talking of the better yesterdays. No, tomorrow is not going to be a better day. They are always saying that, yeah, yesterday was better. You can tune out of that company. You can tune into a different company. It's a conscious choice. You can read a different kind of textbook. You can read a different kind of book. You can play a different kind of audio. Vernon Howard's audio on YouTube is free. Over 20 hours of Supermind. You can just wake up. It's Vernon Howard. Like when you see what he says, yeah, in some of his text that I have on my laptop, sometimes I don't know which line not to underline. As long as you remain like they say, you will change companies. The same complaint you have been complaining, you will give the complaint in the next company until you find that the answer is in you and not the company, not the external environment. I catch myself talking too much again. Harriet, the floor is here. Thank you for rescuing me.
Thank you very much, sir. I just want to agree with everything that you have just been saying. You understand? That is from the inside of us that change must come out from, not circumstances that surround us. Like what this author has said, he said, our life circumstances have little to do with our discontent. You know, our happiness, our joy is not based on finance, is not based on the weather, the traffic, as they stated here, but what we have proposed in our own mindset. You know, yeah. When I was traveling back, this trip I went to, I watched one film, The Iron Lady, Margaret Thatcher. You know, they acted it looking back in her life. And one of the things that just touched me was when she said at the initial time that she's not going to live her life washing plates and cleaning the house. Her time needed to be used for better things, to impact lives, to do great things. That thing just touched my heart that really, that's something we should look into. You come to the house, you are washing plates, you are sweeping ground, you are doing this. Other people are using their time for better things. They are forming policies, they are writing books, they are doing significant things to affect lives. And we tie ourselves down that it must be plating, it must be sweeping, it must be arranging of us that we scatter the next minute. What are we doing? You understand? But because she proposed in her heart, she went on all the way and she got that role of the prime minister. And she became, if I'm right, the longest serving prime minister, a woman. So yes, let's not just continue to look at the environment and thinking that, oh, we are this level. I also, you know what you said about people coming to the UK. You know, they told us initially, they said the house you settle in when you land in the UK, we make you, we determine where your next level will be. Some people hit the ground in the UK and the first, because most people come in, you can't rent a house immediately you come in. You have to just tabernacle in somebody's house first of all. And what you hear there, if you are not careful, it is what will wrap up your whole life. They make you believe sometimes that you cannot, it's care job. That is all you have to do here to survive. Is always available. Is a security job. You understand? I'm not saying it's wrong to start from anywhere you find yourself, but don't just get lost in the system there. I know of a lawyer that came. We all came together, and you know, he's been on security job for over 18 years. That is all he has been doing. Security, my husband knows him. But there were other people that came in. They had that security. One way or the other, they said, okay, let's survive first of all. They got that security job. But while there, they did not lose where they were going to. You understand? They found me when I came with ACCA, I came with ICANN because I had to do my ACCA in Nigeria when I wanted to relocate. When I heard that, oh, they don't recognize Nigerian certification, I said, okay, me, I want to travel overseas. What is going on in UK? ACCA, bam, I started paying pounds in Nigeria and I did my ACCA. But when I came, I was applying for a job and all they were telling me was that there's no UK experience. Where did you actually do this ACCA? I said, Nigeria. Is it the same ACCA with the UK? I said, it's only one ACCA all over the world. You understand? I was getting frustrated. And my friend called me. She said, listen, go and do care job so that you can survive. Because my husband was just doing one kind of marketing that time that if you don't, you know, marketing credit card and to survive, and everything was just like on a standstill. So I had to repackage myself, remove all those qualifications. I went to apply for a care job. Then I entered into the care job. Inside the care job, I started writing MVQ1, MVQ2, MVQ3, because that was the qualifications that was operating there. But I did not lose focus that I am an accountant. And I cannot dump my certificate completely. You know, while doing that, I was still looking for accounting job later. Now I'm surviving. Yes, I can feed well now. You understand? Pay the children's lesson fees. What is the next level? So that is it. Where we land in, I know they can just tell you things that will put you down. I have another person that came into the country, a family friend, and he told me straight away, I was already having an accounting job, and he begged me that he needs something, work experience, and I brought him in. And he said he does not want to touch care job or security at all. That's the mindset that many people have, but he doesn't want to touch it. And I said, look at you. Is it not because your wife has come since and she has done care? Now you have come in and you are landing now straight into a accounting job. But he held on to it. And he, from that voluntary job he did with me, he got a small paid job with us there. And after that, he jumped into a bank and he started flying since then. So our environment should not actually tie us down. Even though he wants to tie us down temporarily, we must not forget where we are from. You understand? And where we are going. If you don't remember where we are going, people will lead you to where they are going. They will lead you. So you need to know where you are going. And by the grace of God, I believe we are in the right place. We are hearing all these things, hearing people's testimony, and we are listening to people who have passed this route before, right before, and we are learning from everybody. You know, iron sharpeneth iron. And I believe if we stay committed like this, reading all these things, rubbing minds together, by next year, we will have a lot. We'll be mentoring people. So I just want to say thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. So just as we conclude, you see, I'll just tell a bit of my story. Moving from Nigeria to Dublin. Now, sponsored myself, self-sponsorship. All I told myself, I was so determined. I had finished a program in Lagos Business School. And because as a civil engineer, when I did corporate finance in Lagos Business School, it was mind-blowing. So I just said, I was running my own business in Lagos, and I just said, I'm going for a program where I would really go into this finance thing. It was a whole world I knew nothing about. And I said to my friend, if I knew how finance worked, I wouldn't be at this level in my life. I said, I want to stop what I'm doing to just go and do a full-time MBA and major in finance. I checked a number of universities. First, I had visited Georgia State University in the US, but it was 2 years. How can I self-sponsor for 2 years? I said, no, I just canceled US out. It has to be UK. When I got to Dublin, within 4 months, 3 months, I couldn't eat again. Completely. There was one Igbo guy, Philip. He will loan me Gary. He was selling in an African market in City Square. I will carry Gary, soak in the morning, soak in the afternoon. Temperature, 0 degrees. I'll soak Gary morning, afternoon, evening. But you see, like Daniel or Joseph, he is in prison, but a king is in him. Remember what I said? The bank teller is a bank teller, but there's a managing director in him. I went to a construction site to look for labor. I was not taken. When I was so desperate, I left stopped MBA for 1 week. I needed something, maybe security for 1 week, just to put 200 or 500 euros in my accounts. How will I be going to class under this situation? Went for all manner. Finally, in my quest, I finally got a receptionist job. As I was doing the receptionist job, my eyes did not leave what brought me to Dublin. I was still checking ft.com, irishjobs.ie. I was still a student. I had not finished MBA. I was driving a Honda to class as a student. I did that receptionist job for about 45 days, and I got a job where I will be working remotely as an MBA student, and I was getting 700 euros every week. That same company, they were so eager, waiting for me to finish MBA. They gave me an official car, and I was still a student, sent me a Honda. They didn't want me to go to another company to look for a job. Now, your temporary situation doesn't have to limit what you are. Where you are now, you can invent. Look, your inner world is different. There are people who work with me. Sometimes I just know there's one guy. I remember his name. He had first class petroleum engineering from University of Lagos. When he was working for me, you will know that this guy, he is not, the level he was working for me is not in that level. He didn't need any. As soon as he left me, the next thing he sent me, right now he lives in New York, he sent me an email. The results he delivers, the way he talks. Now, but he had taken a job that, look, it looked like you didn't even need a graduate to take the job. He told me then he didn't want to stay at home. He was living with his parents. It wasn't just like, look, I was desperate, but staying at home. Let me even get one experience and sit at home. And that's what brought him to work with me. You can be the MT, but you are doing something now. But put your eyes on where you are going to. Put your eyes on the place. Don't begin to, you see, when I see Nigerians, like I said, you will live where you will go to a new place, but your personality keeps limiting you. You are always looking for a job from who you are being. So you get there, they want to quickly condition your being to be. I know a Nigerian who just returned to Nigeria now. He was a doctoral student when he started care. From there to security in ASDA, back to care. Then after 20 years, you see, the brain is wired to it. He couldn't even apply for a graduate level. He has just returned to Nigeria. Now, if he's hearing this thing, I will never forget 7 Steps to Excellence, Kenneth Copeland, part 4. Day and night, you are shaving in the bedroom. He said, then we don't have all this smartphone. Hold your walkie-talkie, plug it by your shirt, put on the walkie-talkie. Everything is looking, it's like you are in hellfire. The walkie-talkie, let it be playing inside you, let it be reading. He said it will be washing away that image, it will be washing away that image until a new personality in you is formed. Thank you. It's 8:32. We'll stop here today. I don't know if we continue this Colin Wilson or go into a new topic next week. We didn't go into it, but I will see that. So please come prepared for every class. I enjoy when I get a lot of inputs, hear different perspectives. I have known Colin Wilson's ladder of being for 4 years now. The perspective that Toast brought, I have never thought of it. I've never imagined it. I've thought of it always psychological with so many wrongs. But when she said spirit, soul, and body, it jolted me. That's why I like different perspectives. If you know, I don't want to take too much of our time. I don't want to even recommend the book. It looks like, this man going crazy. It looks like, how many books do I have to recommend? But if you know the infinite potentials in you and how you can see one single thing in different ways. When she said spirit, soul, and body, I saw the body as the bottom of the at the bottom of the bottom rung of the ladder instantly. Then I saw the middle soul. Then I saw the top spirit. It's a different way of integrating the same self that Colin Wilson talked about. I have never seen it. Please, let's come prepared for every class. Like I always say, together, we create the experience and we create the class. I come here to learn, not to say it is in talking. I do my own learning. So if you are not talking, you are cheating yourself. And this opportunity is here for all of us to talk. I don't even have a greater time allocation of time. You can have a greater time of allocation if you make up your mind to come to a class to talk. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. I introduced Charles. Brother
Oh.
Charles is in Nigeria, married to my younger sister.
Oh, great, great. Congratulations. That is good. He commented. I know today is Charles Isiaku. Today is his
Yes.
first
Yes.
today is his first class, and he commented. I said, when he raised his hand, I said, Charles, are you sure you have thank you so much, Charles, and you are welcome to this group.
On the chat is very helpful because when I listened to the recording, you said you are dropping a link there for people to now invite people. So I said, okay. So that's an easier one instead of us giving you names to be adding people.
Yes.
So thank you so much for that.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. So see you next Saturday, and please prepare to learn by talking. I learned that one as an MBA. The talking is the learning. It's a secret I'll never forget. In Lagos Business School and during my MBA, the quietness doesn't bring the learning. Sometimes even I will struggle, I will make mistakes, blunders. But that blunders creates a mark in me that when I correct it, I will forever remember that blunder. Thank you. So see you next Saturday, and I'll tell you we have interesting sessions ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you. Have a
Thank
good
you,
day.
sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.